This is why new construction is such a big draw, is because builders are able to do a lot of things that a typical seller of a resale home isn't able to do. And so being that budget conscious and really paying attention to that monthly payment, builders are able to kind of meet that need.
Welcome back to another episode of Builder 365. I'm Amy O'Connor, and I'm still your primary host while Jeff is on sabbatical. And we had such a good time with Mary Beth last time, we just decided to keep bringing her on back. So welcome back, Mary Beth.
Thank you. How are you today?
Good. It's very, very good to see you and have you here. And obviously, we're not physically together, right? I mean, we're doing this virtually. And actually, Shore Consulting has always been a virtual company. We were virtual even before it was cool. But you and I both, right? Yes, exactly. But you and I both, when we're not on the road working with clients, this is how we work. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm just curious, have you ever had any fails or any mishaps? You have a family. Have you ever had a kid like running by behind you in their diaper? Anything crazy from virtual working? Okay. With the bowing of the head, I think maybe there's something here.
I think that enough time has passed that I can admit this. So when I was a newly minted Shore Consulting employee, and this was one of my first goes with the home office situation, and I was shadowing you actually on a virtual training, and you were talking, but it was like one of those things where I had to talk some too, but I had to be on camera, and felt like there was a little pressure, prove myself. And then Jeff popped on unexpectedly, the man himself, right? And as all this is happening, I'm like, okay, fix your face. Don't be nervous. It's all good. That is when the door opens and the 4-year-old comes in. Now, the problem with the 4-year-old is not the 4-year-old. He's adorable. I'd happily get him on camera. It's the fact that the 4-year-old doesn't always believe in wearing pants. You're talking about a diaper. If only I could have been so lucky. So as I was looking at you, Jeff, a classroom full of eager sales professionals, I'm literally trying to look at the camera and push him away and text the nanny without looking like I'm texting the nanny, like, please come get my child. Thanks. Yes. Many a blooper, but that was probably
we've certainly all been there. And if it makes you feel any better, I have no memory of that. So you must have done just fine, because I don't remember being like, oh yeah, I'm glad you said that, Mary Beth, because I remember that. No memory of that happening.
I feel like one of the core skills as a sales pro that you have to have is no matter what is going on around you in your phone, you have to always keep your face. So there's that.
It's true, and that is not always easy. So yes, it is definitely a skill that you build when you work virtually. Well, listen, before we bring on our next guest, let me tell you that Builder 365 is powered by Open Door for Builders. Easy sales, smooth moves. With an Open Door cash offer, builders can give their customers a simple and certain selling solution so they can get into their new home with speed and ease. Customers can close in as little as 14 days and move on their schedule. No stress, no hassle, and completely seamless. Open Door's flexible closing timelines help to provide builder customers with a better moving experience, so they don't need to worry about construction delays and double moves or mortgages. Gone are the days of stagings, showings, and making repairs. Open Door will do all the hard work so your customers can sell quickly. You can create your own personal link through Open Door, which your customers can use to get a free offer. Once they decide to sell to Open Door, you can track the progress of their home sale while helping them get into their newly built home on their ideal timeline. Get started today at opendoor.com/builder365. So, Mary Beth, again, we're always looking for new and cool things that are happening in home building. Have you heard about ADUs?
Yes, I have.
Accessory dwelling units?
Mm-hmm. Why do you ask?
Well, it was just interesting because I'm seeing the popularity really sort of ratchet up in California, and then it's switching over to Colorado and Arizona and Hawaii. And we're just seeing more and more of these. Now, I'm a little curious. I don't really understand how that's different than a casita, which we've seen for quite a long time in places like Arizona. But it's this evolution that we're seeing. And of course, the accessory is the accessory to the primary home, right? So there's a primary residence, and then we have this accessory dwelling that in California can actually be sold independently, which I thought was interesting. They have separate entrances, they have amenities, they have HVAC systems. They're usually less than 1,000 square feet and usually 1 to 2 bedrooms. Now, I think the interesting thing that we're seeing right now is we're mostly seeing these in high-end developments. But I'm interested in the conversation of, can this help with the housing crisis and the affordability crisis? What do you think?
Absolutely. My first home, we actually had, well, it was an ADU light. It didn't have it had its own entrance. It didn't have its own driveway. And it was really, really helpful because we were able to help Tucker's brother, who was in grad school, have a very affordable, very comfortable place to live. And so it was great for him. It was great for us. I think that was a wonderful option. And actually, I didn't even think about it, but not too long ago, Tucker and I priced what it would cost to build one here. And actually, we're looking at how to get road access from the back of our home site to the road that goes back behind our property so that we can have a completely separate dwelling. And yeah, I think it's a great way for, I'd probably rent it out to family members, friends. There's a university up the street. Actually 2 universities up the street, but that would be a killer way to make some secondary income for us or help out family in need.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. So for you, you were seeing it as an investment opportunity.
Investment opportunity for sure, because ultimately I think we're going to turn this property into a rental property, and it would be basically a double rental property at that point. You rent out the front, rent out the back. I mean, 2 income streams for the price of one.
Well, I mean, I have 12 acres. I wonder how many ADUs I could build on this thing. I don't know what kind of income I could start generating. Listen, my husband will never go for it. So it's all theory. But yeah, no, I think it's super cool. I think it addresses so many things like generational living, perhaps affordability, perhaps giving people extra income. I'm interested to see where the industry goes with that. And I'd totally be a fan for seeing more of it.
Amy, if you turn a couple acres of your farmland into a glamping site, we could totally do this. I have a vision.
No, people are awful. No, people don't, no. They'll leave trash and I don't know, harass the donkeys. It's too much. It's too much. It's not for us.
A proposal.
It's not for us.
And then you can make your decision, okay?
Okay. All right. Well, we'll work out a business plan and then we'll see what we can pass by Richard. Okay.
Sounds good.
Well, we have another special guest interview for you today. Her name is Qadra Evans, and she's the Director of Industry Relations and Sales for New Construction with Zillow. She's on the executive team of the home that she built along with me, and she's funny, fun, and smart. I think you're going to love this. Take a listen. Well, Qadra, thank you so much for taking the time. I got to tell you, I have fangirled over you for so long. And I love that Molly Elkman originally connected us, and we are connected through the She Built Foundation. We both serve on the executive leadership group for that. And then your kind presentation to WLC this year. So thank you. Thrilled to have you on the podcast.
Oh my gosh, thanks so much for having me. It's been such a joy getting to know you and just be more involved with all the goodness that Shore Consulting has going on too.
Thank you. We love that. Well, let's jump right in because I got to tell you, I know that our audience is super excited to hear what you have to say and the data and the perspective that you bring. So let's start with telling us a little bit about your job at Zillow. What exactly does a Director of Industry Relations and Sales do?
It's a great question because it is kind of an odd title for a job, right? So industry relations is really just an external face of the business. So for so long at Zillow, we were kind of these behind the scenes tech people, and industry relations came into the fold in about 2015, just in an effort to start getting out into the industry. We birthed the new construction industry relations role about 3 years ago. And I've been able to kind of go to conferences, be on stage, share all of this awesome data that Zillow has, and just really start to be a presence, like an ongoing presence in the industry that people see, and they now can associate industry relations and Zillow and all the things that we do. And then I took over, there's that sales piece in the title too. So I took over a sales team this spring. And this sales team is the team that's responsible for bringing in brand new builders. So we work with most of the big builders, there's still a lot of builders that are smaller that we don't necessarily work with. So this team works to bring in that net new business.
That's fantastic. That's very exciting. So your role is expanding, doing a little more every day.
It seems like I'm doing a little more every day. Yes.
Yes, right. But they're just doing just enough so you don't quit, right? Just enough to where it's not too much. Yeah, I gotcha.
Yes, exactly.
So, well, listen, I know our audience is thrilled to hear about the data that Zillow has and the perspective. So again, so excited to have you. So tell us from a data perspective, what are some consumer preferences that you are seeing maybe changing in the market? Are there any surprising insights that y'all have been picking up on?
There's some things, we've had this new construction consumer housing trends book for the last 4 years, and that was kind of the pandemic time, right? So we've seen some of the data since the pandemic really shift in trends, and some of it has stayed the same. Some of the newest trends that came out in this year's data, which I tend to love, these two particular things. One is pets. Pets are becoming more and more important every day. We are we're making decisions based on our fur babies. So
for sure. I do. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is data that we're learning about in these surveys that we send out, is how important our pets are to us. And so we talk a lot to marketers about shining a spotlight on all the great features that you've got for pets. So maybe you've got a dog washing station. My house, we just did a second floor remodel, and my request was a hidden litter box for the cats.
Yes.
So we've got a hidden litter box under the shower bench that the cats can get to.
The shower bench. That's interesting.
Yeah, it was built in, so it's not in the shower. It's right outside of the shower.
Right. Yeah.
Right where that bench is. And so we think about our pets a lot.
Yeah. I have 5 cats and 2 donkeys. So yes, I think about them a lot.
Can I come visit?
Yes, but they bite. So yes, but yes. I just ask Alexis Dries. Yes, they will bite.
The donkeys bite or the cats?
Well, probably both, but the donkeys are a little more nippy than the cats.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm so jealous. Donkeys. I'm an animal lover to the core. So.
Okay. All right. Well, then you have to come.
I will. So back to trends. The other one that we're really seeing start to grow in popularity, and again, it's a generational kind of difference between maybe boomers and millennials. But as a response to this major affordability crisis that we are facing right now, we're starting to see a major uptick in the desire to have either part or all of a home that you can rent. So buyers are looking for ways to offset their mortgage payments, maybe by renting out an ADU or their basement or some piece. And they also want to make sure that this is something that they can rent out either now or in the future, just maybe as from an investment point of view.
It's so funny that you bring that up. I was just yesterday reading an article on LinkedIn talking about ADUs, right? Accessory dwelling unit. Am I getting that right?
Accessory dwelling unit. That's right. And these are basic. It's a builder term. We've got to find a better term.
We do. Well, is casita, is it the same thing as a casita, or is a casita different?
That's a great question. I don't know. I would think they're probably very similar. Maybe it's just semantics, right? The ADU, it's really by definition, it's just a unit that's separate from the home that's on maybe the same lot as the primary structure. So I think casita falls in that definition, right?
Yeah, I think so, right? They're usually around 1,000 square feet, one-ish bedrooms. They're independently run, right? They have the, amenities that you would need in a private interest. I think that's the definition, and I think it fits both. But it's interesting that you talk about that from the, will that give us any relief in the affordability crisis? Because that's exactly what the article was talking about, right? Is this going to give us, the means to be able to do that? So you're seeing people want to rent these spaces.
That's what the data is telling us. Even just 4 years ago, it was just a little over 20% of buyers were telling us that they wanted this. And now it's well over 50%. So it's a trend that is growing, likely as a reaction to this affordability crisis that's really happened in that last 4 years. You've seen prices balloon up. They're like payments are double what they were 4 years ago. So we're trying to figure out ways that we can help offset those monthly costs.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if I can turn one of my barns into an ADU.
I don't know why not.
I wonder I wonder what my neighbors would think about that. I think it sounds great. I think it sounds great.
Yeah. Are you going to kick the donkeys out?
Oh no, the donkeys are in a whole. I have two barns. The donkeys are in a whole different thing.
yes,
Oh yeah,
you
no,
have
this
it.
is going to be the guest cottage, Kadra, for when you come. It's been my dream to have it a guest cottage, but maybe now I
Oh
just
my
need to
gosh.
call it an ADU.
That sounds amazing. Please don't call it an ADU. I was in a conference
No,
this week and we were like, stop talking builder to buyers.
right?
We need to speak a buyer's language, not a builder's language. So
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
that's why I like casita, but maybe casita doesn't feel good for the entire US, right? Maybe that's more of a, New Mexico, Arizona sort of a term. I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
think California when I think of casita. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, cool trends. I would not have actually predicted either one of those. I mean, we know we've seen the uptick in things like pet pads and, the
Yeah.
dog wash stations, but I did not know it was such a big focus. And then ADUs, again, weird that I had just read that. So very cool. So definitely something that our builders need to be thinking about as they're looking at planning their product and planning, maybe even the where they're doing the land, right? Does the land accommodate to have the ADU on it? Interesting. So what are you thinking now as you're looking at the economic landscape? We're, a lot of talk about the interest rates and inflation, and how are you seeing this influencing buyer behavior?
Well, we kind of just talked about a little bit of it.
Yeah.
We have seen prices more than double in some markets, and so
Yeah.
buyers really they're more budget conscious than they have ever been. Especially new construction buyers, we used to see a little bit of wiggle room on budgets, and they're telling us that they are more conscious of their budget than they've ever been. Builders are really responding to this, though. I love what builders are doing. We're seeing builders higher density, smaller lots. They're really trying to meet the needs of what buyers are asking for. And so they're able to shrink the square footage of a house and really start making it more efficient. And that's what buyers are looking for. They want to get in the game. Builders, luckily, are starting to meet the needs a little bit. We're seeing buyers are now in this most recent market, like September. we're seeing we're seeing builders doing more price cuts. Builders have been using incentives for the past couple of years as a response to these higher interest rates, and so buyers are paying attention, and they're really able. This is why new construction is such a big draw. Is because builders are able to do a lot of things that a typical seller of a resale home isn't able to do, and so being that budget conscious and really paying attention to that monthly payment, builders are able to kind of meet that need.
Yeah, I've been talking. It was funny. I was talking with just a builder yesterday, and I said, "Well, are y'all buying down the interest rate?" Right. So many of them are, in their, but they're buying down the interest rate, but there's still a lot of shadow demand sitting on the side. So I'm thinking, like, what does it have to get to? But then maybe it's not about the interest rate they're purchasing. Maybe it's like you were mentioning that they have to sell their own home. And if the interest rate is high, then maybe that's where the struggle is, right? The builders are giving them a good interest rate to buy the new home. But if their buyers have to, use the higher interest rate, maybe that's the sticking point.
Yeah, I think maybe it's like a chicken and egg situation.
Yeah,
It's like, what do we
absolutely.
do? It's really kind of a catch-22, and this is where, I'll plug my good friends at Open Door right now.
Yes.
Think about what you can do using a company like Open Door to help you get that certainty and sell your home if you're trying to buy.
Yes.
There's just so many creative options that I love that have come onto the market to help buyers and sellers really meet their needs and move forward to the next phase of life. So
Yeah. Yeah, of course, we love Open Door. And I was just talking with them literally yesterday. I was with the team and they were saying, we're seeing a lot of people come in saying, I have a home to sell, right? And so they're like, how do we do it? And we haven't heard that in years because,
Right.
they weren't so much worried about the sale of their home before. They were just worried about getting a purchase of a new home. So all of a sudden, salespeople are like, what do I do with this? Like, how do I handle this objection? And I was like, well, have you heard of Open Door? I mean, right? Like, it gives so many solutions to this issue.
Yeah, there's so many creative ways to get things done. And you're right, because what we're seeing now is resale is kind of ticking up a little bit in many markets around the country. So we're seeing more price reductions. We're seeing fewer offers on a house. And it's going to start to get more and more competitive while we're in this climate of these prolonged and elevated interest rates.
What other decisions do you think home builders need to be making right now to stay competitive in this market?
Home builders, you know what? We're in a really good, new construction is in a better spot than new construction has ever been in the history of the segment of building that we're talking about. There is so much technology that builders can utilize to kind of give buyers the same experience that they would get buying a resale home. So you've got this awesome technology for virtual staging, so buyers can picture what furniture would look like, maybe even if a house isn't even under construction yet. You've got 3D tours, you've got interactive floor plans, you've got all this goodness that has really kind of been on a fast track since COVID, because we couldn't necessarily go into homes during COVID. And so technology took over, and builders can give buyers a sense of what being in a home is like without ever stepping foot into a home. And that is something that builders have never been able to do before. And that's, I think, why, because as a buyer, we have a hard time picturing what a space is going to look like.
Right.
I think I read something once that was like, most people can't even get past a paint color to see what a new paint color would be like. So think if you're staring at a piece of dirt, how hard that is.
That is so true.
Yeah, it's so hard to picture it. And now we've got these tools to really help new construction compete and be a viable option for so many buyers.
Yeah, and getting better and better every day.
Absolutely. And cheaper and cheaper. It's really
right.
We've seen the costs come down. We know consumers want it. And so at this point, it's kind of like, hey, builders, why are we not doing this on every single listing? Let's do it.
Yeah, I agree. So as we're talking about technology, right, we're talking about how builders can use technology in their marketing and selling efforts. But I was also reading something interesting recently that was talking about how buyers are really focusing on the technology used in homes, or right, they want all the gadgets, right? Like recently I was looking for a new car and I really wanted to buy the Tesla. I really did, because the technology was just so cool. I didn't, but it was so much fun to play with, right? And so I can see how people would want to use that type of thing in their home as well. So what is the data telling us about those types of trends?
Smart home technology it's an expectation for buyers that are buying, especially new construction, because you're building something from the ground up. You're not trying to retrofit this smart home technology into, I live in a house that was built in 1905. So we're really trying to play catch up on getting we've got an Alexa, there you go. But buyers, they're keenly focused on this. And I'm telling you, as our buyer demographics are getting younger and younger, these are generations that have grown up with technology and they're not really willing to live without it. So, and now if we're looking at Gen Z, who's going to be our next buyer, they've never known a world without Amazon, lucky ducks. So what they're going to expect the world in their homes, and that's security and lighting and our smart home assistants and whatever other technology they can get is going to become an expectation. So builders really need to start thinking about how to take advantage of that and start marketing it and paying attention to those up and coming buyers.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I guess I'm a Gen X, so I'm okay, because I got to tell you, Qadra, I got you beat. My house is 1812.
Oh, cool.
And that's I don't even have Alexa. We have Sonos.
That is so cool. I mean, it's trade-off, right? You get the
it's totally. I mean, I have donkeys, right? So you can either have technology or donkeys, but you can't have both.
I mean, if I have to choose, I'm choosing the donkeys too.
Right? Yeah. I mean, let's just have it all, and the ADU. But, that's right. We'll do that. We got lots to do here, Qadra. I see. You need to come visit. We got lots of things to do.
I'll be right over.
So, I just love that so much of this conversation is focused on the future. And like you said, home building is in a great place. I think a lot of times people are looking around right now and going, oh man, what's going to happen? And I'm with you. Like, I think the future is bright. I think we got a lot to be excited about. The data tells us, right, that people want homes. They want homes, and there may be some affordability, but they're looking for ways around that, right? And they're very clear in what they want. Give us our pets, give us our smart screens and our technology. We'll come buy your homes. Like, that's just what we want to do. We talk a lot about the affordability crisis on this podcast, and it's something that the whole industry obviously takes really, really seriously. And you and I are involved in the She Built Foundation. And the She Built Foundation really is sort of talking about growing the next generation of people for home building, right? And how, these new minds and how, the things that could do could potentially help with the affordability crisis. So what are you thinking? Can you tell the audience a little bit about that and how all that works?
Absolutely. Thank you for bringing it up. I would love any opportunity to talk about the She Built Foundation and the house
I
that
know.
she built.
There's the book.
Yeah, I know. I see it in your background. It makes me so happy. And I love, you can walk into a room Just was at the Denver HBA. They had an event a couple weeks ago, and I brought 35 books with me and just did 5 minutes on stage about what the book was. And the energy in the room changed. It was amazing. Those books went like that. I needed 150, not 35, but people are excited about this. I learned when I first came over to the new construction side of Zillow, I started just asking questions and what's top of mind and what issues are we thinking about? What's going to be on our minds for the long term? And the number one thing by and large was workforce development. And I learned that the majority of skilled trades workers in this country are nearing retirement. The average age of a plumber is something like 57. The average age of an electrician is something like 59. And that's pretty scary because supply and demand affects everything, right? So if you have a lower supply of skilled trades, the ones that are around are going to start raising their prices. That's just how things work. And so when I met Molly and got introduced to this book that's really aimed at getting kids, all kids, not just little girls, but all kids interested in the skilled trades before those biases start forming, I was like, let me at it. Let me be involved however I can, because this is addressing a problem that we're going to have for a long time. And four-year universities aren't meant for everybody, but for whatever reason, our generation got stuck. Right. We drank the Kool-Aid and we got stuck on this 4-year education.
Expensive Kool-Aid.
Yes, exactly. There's a gap in workforce development right now and in the trades. Yeah. And so this book is doing wonders to get kids interested. We have builder partners that will put this book in their sales centers for like in their little kid play area.
I know, it's so cute. I love it.
Yes, they tell us how well used they are. They're just tattered because the kids love it so much. Yeah. We did a project with the new construction team at Zillow. There's about 80 of us. And I sent every single person on the team a book with the challenge to go to their local school or library and donate that book and document it. So put it on LinkedIn so that we can start to spread the message. And they took that assignment and ran with it just to start getting the message out. And so to watch the She Built book now turn into a nonprofit foundation and kind of get its web out even further is something, it's a phenomenon.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, my son, you talk about, it's not 4 years, universities aren't for everybody. My son is a freshman in high school and he's already like, listen, it's not for me. Like he does want to be an electrician. Like he was rewiring antique sconces when he was 8 years old, right? It's just how his mind works. So he very much is like, I want to be a trade. And I was like, buddy, that's a great path for you right now. So yeah. And listen, we're a whole family of home building. Like my husband is career home building. My daughter is now involved in the She Built Foundation. She is the national captain for the Youth Ambassador Program. So trying to get the message out to high schoolers, right? What a great time to capture them before maybe they drink expensive Kool-Aid, right? Let's show them that there's an option.
Yes. That's right. You can get out of high school and start doing something that you're really interested in, something that you love without the debt of a 4-year university. And you can start making money right away in doing something that you love. And that is, I'm so glad that this has become a viable option again, because there's that gap that is missing.
I agree. Well, Qadra, I could sit here and talk with you for another hour, but I promised you I wouldn't. So thank you so much for spending your time with us. I really appreciate your insights. I know our audience is going to be thrilled to hear what you have to say. Thank you so much for taking the time, and we'll look forward to connecting again really soon.
Thanks, Amy. I appreciate being here.
So, Mary Beth, again, right? Another rock star guest that just has some amazing insights for us into what's happening in the home building industry. Anything specific that caught your attention?
Pets are people too. No, I'm just kidding. That was,
of course,
that was one of my favorite takeaways is how easy is it to implement that in the new construction industry, all you need is a closet under the stairs, which I think everybody has, and just merchandise it as a really cool pet alcove. Don't use it for storage for all the home site signs. Like, there's some really cool ways that people could tap into these trends, really cost-effective ways, and appeal to a lot of buyers on that emotional level. And at the end of the day, buying a home is such an emotional process. Why not do the easy things to make it better for your customers?
It's so true. And you know how I feel about pets, especially cats. So I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I know. But here we are. So yeah, no, I love the data she brings. Always insightful with the strategies that we should be thinking about, the trends that we should be looking forward to. So continue, please, to follow Qadra and Zillow for some of the best market information you're ever going to get. So everyone, thank you for another episode of Builder 365. We appreciate you being here, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Bye.